Hello and welcome to the FarmFreshWeb.com presentation for farmers and artisans. We're here to tell you today about marketing tools that can give your sales a little more oomph at the farmers market or at other local venues. My name is Jim Veilleur. I'm a sales and marketing guy for many years, over 30 years actually. I've sold everything from auto club memberships and cookware to high-tech software to big corporate customers. We're on a mission to help you and your market sell more. We've got a bunch of tools that'll help you communicate better, remind customers to come to market, give those customers more reasons to come to market, and to bring their friends and refer other people to market. We think that with these tools you can make your customers more happy and you can sell more. And we're not really doing this to make a bunch of money. Hopefully we'll make at least a little, but most of the companies in this space really don't. We got involved because my daughter got me hooked on farmers markets about 10 years ago. When she was in high school, she just told us that she was going to be a vegetarian, and that didn't really work for us, so we cut a deal. The deal was that she would eat meat that was local, humanely raised, politically correct, yada, yada, yada. And so from that time on, we've bought pretty much all of our animal products and most of our produce from local farmers. We've also bought a bunch of other stuff, things like soap and coffee and bread and, you know, the things that other vendors at the farmers market bring. For the last 7 years, I've been talking about building an app for farmers, and for the last 1.5 to 2 years, we've actually been developing something. So that's what we're doing here. How are we different? Because there actually are a bunch of different options that you have as a farmer to list things to sell online. And that's not really what we're talking about here. We do that, and we'll show you a little bit about how we do that. But our real focus is helping you get your message out. And the other vendors, the other software that I'm thinking of, really don't do that. Our focus on messaging is across the board. We talk about calendar messaging and push notifications and news feeds, offers that you can send to your customers, and coupons, messaging through SMS or text messaging, messaging through email. We've invented a new kind of messaging called market messaging that we'll talk about a little bit. But you can hook these tools up to anything you want. You might have no online sales, which is certainly what most vendors do, or you can list online with us if you want, and we'll help you take reservations from customers, or you can use other people's software like Local Food Marketplace, Food for All, Open Food Network, Small Farm Central, and many others. Basically, what we have is a toolkit for you and your market, and most of it is free. There are a few exceptions, but for the most part, you're not going to be spending any money with us at all. That's because we're using advertising to pay for what we're doing here. We have a smartphone app we've developed for you and the market manager and for the other vendors at the market. We have another app for shoppers. We have website hosting and simple design services we can provide for you, email marketing, push notifications, calendar reminders, and there's much more coming. Why do we focus so much on apps? Well, it's pretty simple. 90%, actually more than 90% of your customers have a smartphone, and you are undoubtedly aware of that. Most of those people carry their phone with them all the time. They carry it into the bathroom, into the bedroom. They carry it when they're driving. In fact, sometimes they're looking at it when they're driving. And 70% of internet usage is actually on a smartphone. And given a choice, most people prefer using an app over a web browser. So what are we going to do with that app? Well, the key strategy we've got is to turn visitors into regular customers. The truth is that most farmers market shoppers only go to the market maybe once or twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. Now, you might find that hard to believe, but we're not the only ones who are saying that. And I can actually prove it to you, but that's for another video. So adding just 1 visit a year will increase traffic by as much as 25 to 30%, maybe even more. Occasional visitors, the people who only show up once or twice a year, are actually your best prospects to get more business. Think about it. They already know where the market is. They were motivated enough to go at least once. That compares to the people who have never been to the market. They don't necessarily know where it is. They may not care about farmers markets. The people you want to focus on are the people who show up once or twice a year, get that to 2 or 3 or 4 times a year, and suddenly you've added an awful lot of business. And the way we're going to do that primarily is through reminders. Reminders are powerful because people actually like the farmers market. They have fun there, but they get distracted with life. They've got soccer games to take their kids to, or dental appointments, or goodness knows what else. But reminders help make the market top of mind and get them to act on the fact that they already like the farmers market. Here's some examples of the power of reminders. Now, we're brand new, so we can't point to our own evidence. But what we can do is talk about how reminders work in other contexts. So in a clinical context, reminders through things like text messaging has increased attendance by as much as 50 to 90%. That's what those quotes say. If you look over on the right, in the context of farmers markets, there's a service out there called FarmFan. It costs a little money. We'll do the same thing for free, but if you want to use them, that's great. Here's a quote from one of their customers talking about how a weekly reminder made a huge difference for the people at their particular market. And then the Massachusetts Federation of Farmers Markets did a study a couple of years ago where they found that their thing that they were doing, crop alerts and whatnot, which were essentially reminders, increased customer counts by 42%. That's pretty impressive. Here's the general idea, and we've got lots of different variations on this, but it works like this. You create a message on the Farmers app, your customer gets the message on the Shoppers app. So we have 2 apps, one for you, one for your customers. You put the messages on the Farmer app, and it gets to the customer. Let's talk about the Farmers app for a few seconds. We call it the Farmers app, but actually it's for you and the market manager and for all the vendors. So whether you sell soap or bread or tomatoes or beef products, it's for you. And what it does is it lets you create messages that you can send to shoppers. So you can create push notification messages, events, coupons, recipes, and we're actually creating more messages types as I've talked about. You can also, on the app, you can create and update product listings if you list with us. And we're also adding social media integration so that you can create the messages on the app and automatically share them on things like Facebook and Twitter and those kinds of things. Here's a little bit of what it looks like. These are screenshots from the app itself. And so on the left, you can see these are little prompts to tell you to create an initial greeting or welcome message so that when customers download the app, they get a message from you. And a weekly repeating message that just repeats automatically every week. You don't even have to do anything to send that message out, just to remind customers to come to the market. The next slide over on the right is about it's the menu basically for the app, and then one over shows the types of messages you can create. Finally, the last thing over on the far right gives you an idea of what those messages look like on the Farmers Market app itself. Now, as I said, we also have a Shoppers app, and what the Shoppers app does is it displays messages for a selected market and its vendors. That's an important point. We ask the customer to pick a market, and actually we even ask them to pick a particular vendor. We'll talk about that in a second. All of the messages have contact links and sharing options to make them more effective. And we can automatically include things you're already creating today. So if you have an email newsletter, if you do blogs, those things can automatically be included so you don't have to do any extra work. It lets you create direct messages when customers pick you, and we'll talk about that in a second. Creates calendar reminders for market day. We literally put the reminder in the customer's smartphone calendar. Push notifications display even when the app's not open, so they just pop up on the screen. We got recipes to help shoppers use seasonal produce, and a shopping list function to encourage market shopping. Those are really both ways that we can get customers to download the app more frequently. And then finally, we do have that reserve in advance capability if you want to list with us, where customers can reserve in advance. Let's show you what the Shoppers app looks like. Here's some screenshots from that app. You remember we said that we asked the customer to pick the market that they want to follow. So we're on the far left, you can see a couple of different markets. They're really the same thing, but it doesn't matter. The point is that you select one, and then you're asked to pick the farmer or artisan that recommended that you download the app. And this is an important point because you want that to be you. The next screen shows what a push notification looks like. That's not actually in the app. It's the kind of thing that pops up, like I said, right on the customer's phone. And then the next two slides over on the or screenshots over on the right are really what the messages look like from the customer's perspective. And you can see there's a picture, there's some text. It all depends on what you want to write. Every message that gets posted on the Shoppers app has a bunch of functions which make it easy to connect with you. So you can see from left to right, if you look at the bottom of that message, first of all, there's a link to go to product listings, and they're linked anywhere. They could be with us, with the software that we use, or they could actually be product listings that you've got listed on Small Farm Central, for example, just to pick one. The next button is a share button that allows the shopper to share on Facebook or Pinterest or wherever they want to. And then go to website. You click on that and it'll take you to the website of the market or the vendor that's involved, who's posted the message. The next two messages are to be able to send an email or a text to the vendor or to the market. And then finally we have a like button. Like I said, you want to get customers to choose you as that farmer or vendor who got them to download the app. So when the customer's at the market, encourage them to download the app. When they download the app, they'll be asked to pick a market or vendor, and you want to get them to pick you, like we said, because from then on, we treat that as your customer. And they'll be able to send push notifications and other messages to those customers absolutely for free. You can still send messages to other people, but there will be a little bit of a cost associated with that. We got other things too, other things that are available today and things that we're adding as we go along. So today we have website hosting and simple design. We can host your website for free, and we can actually create a website for you. In fact, we want to encourage all of the customers, all of the vendors, all the farmers and artisans that work with us to actually have a website. We also help with email marketing. We can provide list management and content creation. We know a lot about that kind of stuff. And some other things that we're adding. Like I said, we're adding social media integration with places like Facebook and Twitter. We got this thing called Market Messages, which is really cool. Here's how it works. You can create a message from your phone that goes directly to the people who are at the market without actually going onto the internet. It uses the Bluetooth transmission in your phone to send those messages. And because it's using Bluetooth, it's only going to the people who are within a few hundred feet of you. Now, what that means is that you can limit the messages to people who are at the market without having to use GPS, without having to use any other kind of technology. You can even be in a place where there's lousy internet connection and still get your message out to customers. So if you want to go home early and you want to have a sale on something, or you want to tell people that you've got a new product, a new crop in, it's the perfect vehicle for that. That won't be available for at least another month or so. Then we're creating an automated shopper count ability. That'll be useful for market managers, probably less interesting to you for now. We're also working on delivery, something called geo-conquesting, and a bunch of other stuff. And we're also always looking for suggestions from you. Let me tell you about geo-conquesting because it's really cool. What this means is that once the shopper has the app on their phone, once we've implemented this geo-conquesting thing, when they go to the supermarket, they'll actually get a message that says, hey, we're glad you're at the supermarket. That's terrific. But don't forget that the farmer's market's coming up, and that's the place you want to get your fresh vegetables or your meat products or whatever it happens to be. So we really want to remind them when they're at the supermarket that they've got that opportunity to buy things from the farmer's market that will obviously be fresher and from real local farmers. So how do you use all this? Well, the first thing you got to do, obviously, is to download the farmer's app. We probably want to download the shopper's app too, but first it's got to be the farmer's app. So it's available on both the Android and the Apple app stores. Those are little abbreviated links, or you can just go onto those app stores and search for FFW Farmer. That should find it for you. If you look for FarmFreshWeb, you're going to see a whole bunch of other things that aren't us. So FFW Farmer is probably going to get you there the fastest or easiest, unless you use those links that we're providing. Then you want to set up your account. You want to fill in the little form that we'll give you, where you provide your name, the market's name, the contact details that you've got, and then we'll contact you to get additional information and answer any questions you've got. So make sure you give us your email address and your phone number. Anyway, so then you set up your messages and you let your customers and your colleagues know that you're using the app. Put it on your website, put it on social media accounts and your email newsletter, and promote the app like you do to your email list. If you're using an email newsletter today, you've probably got a clipboard out on your table that says, sign up for our newsletter. We'll help you with other tools where you can encourage customers to download the app. And we will help with materials and other kinds of things, right? So we've got a bunch of materials that we can provide to the market as a whole. Things like signage and promotional cards, online materials, press releases, all kinds of good stuff. And for the market, we will be willing to pay for the actual paper and the mailing and that kind of stuff. For vendors, for farmers and artisans, we can provide the designs for those materials, and we can provide the printed materials at our cost, right? So it doesn't cost us very much to do this stuff, but you know, there are, we've calculated something like, at least 80 or 90,000 farmers at farmers markets around the country. Given that number, we really can't afford to just give that stuff away. So we have to at least recoup our costs. If you have any questions, this would be the time to ask, except that we're taping this for YouTube. So send us an email, and we'll be glad to answer it, or give us a call. You can find us at www.farmfreshweb.com. And you can also email the email that you see down there. That's actually my brother Paul, and he will be glad to answer any and all of your questions. Thanks so much for the time you've spent to learn about FarmFreshWeb. We're very excited about working with you, and we're hoping that you'll be just as excited once you get a chance to see how well this can help you with your sales. Thanks again. Hope you have a great day.